KOR Sports here with Richard Schaefer, press conference for another big show, man. You keep bringing out the big shows to the fans, man. Definitely appreciate that. Want to ask you first. There were a lot of names, obviously, in the hat, kind of for who was going to get Mikey Garcia. What kind of finally was kind of the deciding factor that it was Lipinets?
Well, I think you're going to see that more and more. As Mikey Garcia now is, I think the lowest I've seen him is like number 5 on pound for pound list. Some people have him much higher than that. But as you become this big time fighter, and everybody's going to want to fight you, and there are going to be more and more names in the hat. And I think ultimately you pick a fight where a win is really adding to your legacy as well. And we all know history does not come easy, and there's a reason why in the entire history of the sport there have only been 2 featherweights which were successful in moving up weight classes and win 4 consecutive world titles, and those 2 are Juan Manuel Marquez and Manny Pacquiao. So for Mikey to be able to add his name to that list, I think is of historic significance. And if you have a chance to do something which is of historic significance, then you're going to go for it. This is not just another fight or another title fight or whatever. No. This is historic. It's 2 undefeated guys, 50 wins, 40 knockouts. The biggest puncher in the 140-pound weight class, Sergey Lipinets, against Mikey, moving up in weight. I mean, this really is the best fighting the best.
Well, we also heard rumors of another name, kind of possibly being Robert Easter Jr. Were you involved with that? How close was that, or was Lipinets just a better option because it is a new weight class? He would be a the 4th division champion in a short period of time, like you mentioned. Juan Manuel Marquez and Pacquiao were the only 2. How real was the Robert Easter Jr.?
No, that was a real option as well. So I think the question really is, which one is historically more significant? And I think this one here, when you have this opportunity, you go for it. And what it does as well, it really opens up the door after this fight for Mikey to decide, does he want to pursue the 135-pound or does he want to pursue the 140-pound weight class? I think in each one of those 2 weight classes, there exists an opportunity to unify, whether if it's at 135 against Linares or against Robert Easter, who is still going to be there, assuming he wins his fight. Or is it moving up to 140 and fight the winner of the WBA 140-pound world title fight, which is going to be on the card as well? Or Flanagan is moving up against Hooker, so they're going to definitely be as well other opportunities to unify at the 140-pound weight class, and it sort of like gives Mikey the flexibility in that regard.
You mentioned Mikey's no lower than number 5 pound for pound, kind of generally in most pound for pound lists. What is your top 5, I guess, pound for pound right now?
Well, I think when you look at pound for pound, you cannot just look at the last fight or the last 2 fights. I think it's really sort of like I think it's important what you've done in your last few fights. I think that's one component, an important component, but it's not the only one. I think you need to sort of see as well, how does that fit in cumulative with what you have done throughout your career. And with Mikey Garcia, we have the only fighter who is now fighting for a 4th world title. So he really is, in that regard, right now, from today's active fighters, a league of his own. He already is a 3-division world title. He really has fought anyone and everyone. And so I think when you look at all of that and what he has done in his last fight against against Broner, and before that against Deschamps, a lot of people thought he was going to get knocked out, including Dan Rayfield from ESPN. So a lot of people felt like, this is a real challenge, which it was. And yet every time Mikey Garcia doesn't just win, but he makes it look easy. And that makes us as fight fans first and foremost think like, gee, maybe that guy he fought wasn't all that good. That's like a normal reaction just because he makes it look easy. And that's why I believe Mikey Garcia deserves to be #1 pound for pound. Obviously Lomachenko is up there as well. I think Canelo is up there. I think Keith Thurman is up there, again, based on what he has accomplished. I believe that like a Leo Santa Cruz and Abner Mares, those kind of guys. So there's maybe some names which people might think, oh, I don't think so, but I believe because you've got to look at cumulative what they have accomplished.
Yeah, no, I mean it's a pound for pound too, so it's kind of based on your opinion as well. But all those names deserve to be up there for sure. You did bring up Lomachenko. Obviously, a lot of fight fans are talking about that potential matchup coming up if it were to happen. Just want to get your thoughts on his last fight. He was fighting obviously Guillermo Rigondeaux, who was a little smaller, but he just completely dominated him. It didn't really use his size, I feel like, as an advantage. What were your thoughts on that fight and why Rigondeaux quit?
Well, I think there's these boxing wisdoms, out there, and one of them is a great big guy always beats a great little guy. There's no question that Lomachenko and Rigondeaux are two great fighters. One is a little guy and the other one is a big guy. And the boxing wisdom held true again. The bigger guy won. And that's what usually happens. And so, I wasn't surprised at all. I think Lomachenko is a terrific fighter. I think his amateur record and everything, is a terrific fighter.
If that fight were to be made, would you have involvement in that fight? Because I know you work with PBC, but I don't know, is Mikey officially a ring star fighter, or are you just kind of taking this fight for him? Would you be involved in that fight if it were to happen?
Well, Mikey and me have a great relationship. We respect each other, we like each other, and we'll work together. So when I worked with Floyd Mayweather, never had a signed contract, but yet Floyd turned out to be the most loyal of fighters, or one of the most loyal fighters I've ever worked with, because we respected each other and we worked very well together. And that's the same here with Mikey Garcia. So if there is going to be a Mikey Garcia, or if there would be a Mikey Garcia Lomachenko fight, I have no problem working with Bob Arum. I've done many big fights with Bob and very successful ones. And I think this is a fight which I believe eventually will happen. It's a fight which I'd like to see as a fight fan. But, and I'm not a big fan of marinating. You guys all know that. Mm-hmm. I like to see the big fights now. Right now, if possible. So, but in this particular case, I have to say that maybe waiting 12 months or so would make sense to let both guys build up on their success already and make it even bigger. That this fight becomes what I think it can be, truly the fight everybody wants to see. And when I say everybody, I don't just mean boxing fans, but I mean sports fans. I mean the general public asking to see this fight. And I do believe that this particular matchup has the ingredients to become that kind of fight. Everybody wanted to see Mayweather and Pacquiao. I think this matchup has the opportunity to become something like that.
It's very clear for us being boxing fans, but I think as well to the general public, they're two special guys. So that it'll create a special environment like that.